You're watching LSJ Today, our headlines on December 1st.
Running out of patience, anger as two GP surgeries close their doors.
Advice to the patients is if they're concerned or got any worries to ring us on the helpline or drop in at one of the events that's been arranged over the next couple of weeks.
Major roadworks ahead after the government gives £50 million to help solve the county's road problems.
Open for business, Lincoln's Christmas market is ready for 250,000 shoppers.
And riding high, the goal that took Lincoln City to the top of the table.
Good opening, yeah.
Hello and welcome to LSJ Today, coming to you live from the University of Lincoln. I'm Amy Dobson.
And I'm Danny Adamson. We have all the news from around the region, but first, today's top story.
A director of the NHS in West Lincolnshire has moved to reassure patients and staff after announcing that 2 GP surgeries in the city will close.
I went along to find out more. 2 Lincoln doctors' practices will close in January after the Lincolnshire West CCG's 2 possible providers were not suitable. The director responsible for the decision to close the practices has tried to reassure patients and staff.
My advice to the patients is if they're concerned or got any worries to ring us on the helpline or drop in at one of the events that's been arranged over the next couple of weeks, but to take the time to choose the practice that best meets their needs and to go and register there. We hope that many of the staff will be able to take up posts in the surrounding GP practices, because obviously they'll need more staff to deal with additional patients, but also because they're working for an NHS organisation, there will be opportunities for them to take up employment within the wider NHS as well.
A Lincolnshire County Councillor has opposed plans for a new waste site in Lincoln. The proposal by environmental waste management company Veola would see the site be built on Longleys Road near West Common. However, local residents are opposed to the new site with over 500 signatures on a petition.
And there are
As far as the bypass goes, we've been waiting about over 20 years for this, and it's only just coming into fruition, we hope. But one of the things about it, which I think is wrong,
Sorry about that technical error. Lincolnshire County Council have been awarded extra funding to improve roads around the city. The Lincoln Eastern Bypass, and more funding has been provided to fix potholes around the county. We have Jess here to give us more on the story.
The bypass, which is being built between Rugby Road and Slayford Road on the A15, is hoping to minimise congestion about 25%. It's also believed to bring in economic benefit of up to £600 million due to the easier access into the city.
What is the council doing about these potholes, Jess?
Well, the Lincolnshire County Council is spending £2.5 million to fill in 47,000 potholes around the county. We have spoken to the public to get their views on these new developments and the current road conditions.
as far as the bypass goes, we've been waiting about over 20 years for this, and it's only just coming into fruition, we hope. But one of the things about it, which I think is wrong, is it should be dual carriageway, not single carriageway.
Yes, the improvement in the roads are good now, but it does stop people coming into the town to shop. Personally, I like shopping in the centre and I like going to the local butcher that's here, but I can't get in.
That's everything from me. Back to you, Amy.
Thanks, Jess.
So, good news for the city's transport problems. However, is it bad news on the buses? Student Jacob Ellis reckons the current bus timetable isn't good enough to keep people informed, so he's come up with his own. Earlier, Samuel Gilbert asked him what it was all about.
So Jacob, you're developing this app.
That's
Can you
right.
tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, Lincoln Bus, it's a journey planner. It's also a way to find service updates in Lincoln,
So can you take us through, sort of, you've got a journey planner up there, so...
Yeah, so for example, let's say you're in Lincoln and you fancy going to Bracery Heath right now. You hit search and it tells you when the next bus is, what the service is, and also look, from bus stand E. Eventually you will be able to actually save this and set a reminder in the future, but at the minute it doesn't do anything, it just tells you the feature's coming soon.
Okay. And you're actually doing this for your dissertation?
Yeah, it's my level 3 dissertation project, so this will be ongoing until April 2017, so there'll be loads more improvements coming.
So how does it feel just being a student and knowing that your website is helping just members of the public and they...
It feels really good because this is a community project, this is to help people. So it's really nice that it, not only is it just for me to get marks for my degree, but it's also helping people access the bus services in Lincoln.
Still to come on the programme, a midweek win for Lincoln City sees them at the top of the National League.
And it's a tough time for baby hedgehogs, as many are too small to survive a harsh winter.
And what's reporter Aaron Renfrey been up to?
And I head down to Strike Zone to find out a little bit more about white-collar MMA.
1-2.
But first, some more news from around the region.
Lincoln Castle has won an international award after fighting off competition from around the world. The new Cultural Experience Prize was awarded to the castle at a ceremony in London as part of the National Geographic Traveller Reader Awards. Readers voted in their thousands for the Lincoln Landmark, which beat the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art to claim the top prize.
The Red Arrows Aerobatic Displays team has completed a 60-day world tour, which included its first ever public display in China. As part of the Best of British tour, the team performed in parts of Middle East and India. The Red Arrows have now performed more than 4,500 displays since their formation, and after visits to Bahrain, Kuwait and Oman, the number of countries the team have performed in reached 57.
University of Lincoln Students' Union Vice Presidents Will Fry and Algrim Karashi have resigned. Will Fry posted on the SU website, "Whilst I thoroughly enjoyed representing students in my role so far this year, I need to pursue my long-term career path." Lincoln Christmas Market opened today and over 250,000 people are expected to visit this year. Elliot Dalton has been sampling some of the magical Christmas atmosphere.
Lincoln Christmas Market has only been open a matter of hours, but it's already buzzing. There's so many people here looking at all the stalls, buying Christmas presents, sipping on mulled wine, eating a mince pie. The cathedral bells chimed bang on 12 o'clock and the doors swung open to the castle square. Our reporter Becky Lancashire came a couple of days ago to get some behind the scenes footage, and she's been gauging initial reaction from some of the people here today.
It's been a local tradition since it started in 1982, only being closed once on this day 6 years ago due to bad weather conditions. But the sun is shining bright for the opening today, and many visitors have already enjoyed all that the markets have to offer.
Lovely atmosphere, got some fudge. Yeah, everyone's getting on well, bands on, and it's really good, yeah.
Oh, it's great, really good. Yeah, really nice atmosphere and yeah, really nice. So well worth coming. Lovely food.
Yeah, really nice, really lovely. All the smells. We've had some mulled wine and a pork bun. It was beautiful, an apple.
Yes.
You can see, I'm enjoying myself.
It looks like it.
Down one side so far. I says as soon as I'm full, I can't actually go any further because and buy anything because I'm full. We've got to get back on the train again somehow.
But some people aren't as happy as this. Stall holders say the increase in prices has had a huge impact on them.
Well, it should be £1,600. We got £100 off because we make it ourselves. So it's £1,500. I know it's huge. And then there's accommodation, which is why there are less crafts people here, because because you make less profit and therefore the expense of doing it is so high, which is why there's a lot of imported stuff here. Compared to a lot of the other Christmas markets, there's a lot less handmade stuff, which is a shame because there used to be loads more of it.
The stalls have been set up and
and the crowds are flowing in for another year of the Christmas markets here in Lincoln, with stalls selling everything from food and drink to crafts and decorations. Will this be another good start to the Christmas season? Becky Lancashire, LSJ Today, Lincoln.
The main bulk of the stalls are located here in the castle grounds. However, it's not just where things are. Over to my left, around the Bale Gate, just over the castle wall over there, is a big Ferris wheel, a funfair, dodgems, a merry-go-round. Also in the cathedral, there's stalls in there. Just outside the castle as well, there's stalls. There's everything going on. You can hear the music playing around me. It's a really festive, fun atmosphere. Loads of people are buying stuff. People are going around. They've got loads of bags, too many, eyes too big for their belly sometimes with all the food that's going on, and I'm sure some people will be getting very merry on mulled wine. In fact, I might do that just now, and a mince pie.
Lincoln's tourism industry has been booming. Over the last few years, we've had many events celebrating the city's history. Christina Curtis has more.
New data shows that Lincoln's tourism industry has been increasing over the past couple of years. The data shows that there was an 8% rise in visitor numbers between 2014 and 2015. Last year was the anniversary of the Magna Carta, and the central Lincolnshire economy took in over £426 million. One of the biggest highlights of 2015 was the Barron Trail, which lined the city of Lincoln as part of the celebrations. The Barrons were then sold off and raised over £167,000 for charity. And also last year, Lincoln Castle was reopened after a £22 million project to rejuvenate it was completed. And this year has been good for tourism so far too. Lincoln Castle was chosen to host the Poppy Wave display to mark the 100th anniversary of the First World War finishing. And there's plenty of historic events coming up next year as well. The 800th anniversary of the Battle of Lincoln has been celebrated through a Battles and Dynasties exhibition. This will feature items from major institutions, including the Queen's collection. However, it has still not been decided over which ones will be shown. Also, the Barron Trail will be recreated using knights and horses. It is expected that 35 will be displayed around the city. And Lincoln Castle will also be celebrating the 800th anniversary of the Charter of the Forest. In November, a new charter is being launched to protect the future of the UK's trees. 10 carved wooden poles will be displayed across the UK, and Lincoln Castle is one of the places to go and see them. So hopefully, these historic events will be bringing more visitors to Lincoln and the tourism industry can continue to grow. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Christina.
Lincoln Cathedral has secured another grant towards its restoration. The £38,000 will aid work to extend the life of the 12 pinnacle structures for a further 25 years. Rosie Lintott has more.
Thanks, Danny. A spokesperson from Lincoln Cathedral has said that Lincoln has been listed as one of the 24 Church of England and Roman Catholic cathedrals to be awarded funding in the final round of First World War's Cemetery Commemoration Fund. The Sub-Dean Reverend Canon John Patrick has said the Cathedral Works Department managed to maintain the building and keep it looking its best despite daily challenges. Chapter is proud of our skilled workforce and extremely grateful for the continued support of the First World War Cemetery Commemoration Fund. This will be the Cathedral's fourth tranche of funding they have received over the last 3 years. Lincoln Cathedral is the only cathedral to be on the Heritage England at-risk register, therefore the funding it receives is essential to protect and safeguard it for the future. Thank you, Amy.
Thanks, Rosie.
Only one of the UK's ambulance trusts is currently meeting its target of seeing patients with life-threatening conditions within 8 minutes. Hundreds of thousands of hours lost last year waiting for A&E staff to be free to hand over their patients. Ambulance bosses are blaming the rising pressure and demand in the system. Janine Harding has more on the story.
So to put things into context, the proposed budget cuts to the NHS have made matters worse, not just for staff but for patients as well. Just recently, the Royal College of Surgeons has warned that there is a chronic shortage of hospital beds in England, which means that hospitals are struggling to accommodate more patients. And now this becomes a problem because it's severely impacting other services, more specifically the ambulance services. So according to an investigation by the BBC, ambulances are struggling to reach seriously ill and injured patients quickly enough because the system is stretching itself too thin due to rising demand. Over 500,000 hours were lost last year waiting for A&E staff to be free so that patients could be handed over to them, which is a significant amount of time lost, especially for those patients who are being brought in with life-threatening conditions. And currently, the Welsh Ambulance Service is the only one hitting its targets to respond to life-threatening calls after they adopted a new system so that they could prioritise the more critical calls. Scotland, Northern Ireland and England are looking to follow suit to address this problem. That's all I've got. Back to you.
Thanks, Janine. And now here's Aaron Renfrey with the sport.
Let's start with Lincoln City, who are looking forward to an FA Cup second round against League One Oldham Athletic on Monday evening. Apologies about that graphic there. The Imps on a high after climbing to first place in the National League after beating Wrexham 1-0 on Tuesday. The winner came in the 14th minute when midfielder Elliot Whitehouse's shot inside the box was deflected home. City will be without defenders Sean Raggett, who's suspended after a red card in the game against Wrexham, and Callum Howe, who's cup-tied after playing for Southport earlier in the competition. Now, have you ever considered brawling for charity? White-collar MMA, that's mixed martial arts for those not in the know, is where wannabe fighters have 8 weeks training before competing in a cage. I went down to Strike Zone in Lincoln to find out what it's all about. They call him Mr. Medic, and that's because every day he's either training to cut people out of cars or he's applying medical care to boxers and fighters.
On the weekend I'm patching them up. Friday night I'm going to be breaking them. MMA is a sport that I've never gone into. I have done boxing when I was in the military 8 years ago. On a bad note, I have had a few brawls in town, things like that. I saw this opportunity to help other people, so I decided to take it.
Lee Hardy Edwards will be competing in an MMA fight at Lincolnshire Showground, with the proceeds going towards children's charity, Promised Dreams. But Lee won't be fighting alone. He will be under the watchful eye of his trainer, Nigel Singleton, who's a 3rd Dan black belt in Shotokan Karate.
As long as he keeps his nerve and doesn't flip, because he has a little bit of a hot temper at times, yes, he'll do fine. The guy that he's fighting is a very similar sort of guy, bit of a troubled background, bit of a street fighter. It'll be interesting to see who comes out on top. I'm hoping it's going to be Lee, because he's my employee.
With each competitor training for a mere 8 weeks, Lee is feeling a ton of emotions.
There's going to be a lot of excitement, but at the same time you can't enter a cage without being scared. Everyone's going to be scared. It's first time any of them have done it. That's what gives the fight a good fight.
From training inside a car to fighting inside a cage, this Friday Lee puts his dukes up for white-collar MMA.
Thank you, Aaron. Airball is the latest sporting craze to arrive in Lincoln. It's said to be more fun than football and rugby. Sam Gilbert went to find what it's all about.
The next big sporting craze has hit Lincoln. Airball, also known as Zorb football, is a game originating from Scandinavia. The objective of the game is to score against your opponent and knock each other down whilst doing so. Participants strap themselves into the balls with a layer of tough, flexible plastic, keeping them safe on the inside. Business partners Paul Otley and Luke Hild have invested £10,000 into bringing the unique airball experience to Lincoln.
Well, we're the first bubble football operation in the area.
So we are based locally in Lincoln. We've got 10 local venues on board where people can choose and then come and play at any one of those. They've got a choice of either indoor or outdoor, obviously depending on the weather. And we accommodate for all ages and all group types as well. And we felt that it was popular enough now. And Lincoln seems to have the best of everything these days, and we felt that it would be a good place to do it.
With the best quality airball equipment now on offer in Lincoln, just what is it like to take part in this unique sport?
Good laugh and good little workout as well. And yeah, it's just funny when you smash into someone.
Yeah, great, really good fun, more tiring than you expect it to be. And I think as well, you think you just fall over when someone gets you over, but actually you fall a lot of the time when you're trying to get someone over as well.
It doesn't hurt as such, no, you feel it. Obviously, if someone's running into you, you're going on the floor, but it grazed my knee, but nothing. Yeah, nothing too major. You're pretty well protected in this.
Following a successful launch with several bookings now lined up for Paul and Luke, how can the sport of airball best be described?
I think it's probably halfway between just sort of a trendy sport, a craze, and maybe a little bit of impact sport thrown in. We like to say, you know, that it's more fun than football, which from the reactions of people it does seem that it is. Safer than rugby, and obviously a lot of fun to knock your friends around at the same time while scoring goals.
Having had a great response to airball so far, it certainly hasn't proved to be an own goal. Samuel Gilbert, LSJ Today.
Now let's find out what's happening in the world of entertainment. Here's Natasha Artenberg with the latest.
The pantomime Cinderella will open its doors at the Drill Hall this Monday. Kerry Katona will be this year's star of the show as she takes on the role of the fairy godmother. The pantomime will run all the way until the 8th of December, so make sure you get your tickets and don't miss out on this fun-filled show. Now, it's the 1st of December, which can only mean it's time for advent calendars, Christmas music and Christmas trees going up. We've been asking you for pictures of your Christmas trees, and here's just a few of our favourites. Now I'm not sure if Elsa should be at the top of the tree, but maybe she can bring us some snow. If you want to get involved, you can tweet us your pictures at LSJ Today Tweets. We've also got a poll over on our Twitter page asking you what you think the best thing about being December is. Thanks for entertainment news.
And finally, thousands of baby hedgehogs are too small to survive the winter hibernation period. Care shelters and wildlife centres within Lincolnshire have been experiencing an increase in the numbers of hedgehogs needing their help.
Well, this all started because of the cooler weather that we've experienced this summer. As a result of the mild months, mother hedgehogs were giving birth to 3 litters as opposed to the usual 2. Because of this, the baby hedgehogs in the 3rd litter have been unable to reach the optimal weight of 500 grams. This means that unless they receive the help and food that they need over the next few weeks, then the nation's spiky little friends will struggle to survive the hibernation period. The number of hedgehogs living within the UK has dropped by 90% in the last 60 years, from a whopping 36.5 million to below 1 million. However, charities and animal care homes such as the RSPCA and the British Hedgehog Preservation Society are working hard to ensure that the hedgehogs are remaining happy, healthy and safe this winter.
Thanks Naomi, and here's Becky with the weather.
It's been a clear and dry day today, a great day for the opening of the Christmas markets as we've heard. Temperatures are still dropping though, so if you are going up there, make sure you wrap up warm. Tonight is expected to remain dry with maximum temperatures of 8 degrees. And on to tomorrow, it'll be patchy rain, light winds and some fog.
Thanks Becky, and that's it from us here at LSJ Today. Thank you for joining us. You can catch up with us on social media at LSJ Today Tweets and on Facebook at LSJ News.
You can also look us up on YouTube and contact us on our website at lsjnews.co.uk. So Danny, will you be going to the Christmas markets this year?
I'm going to try and go tonight before the mad rush of tourists coming at the
Definitely,
weekend.
yeah, me too, of course.
That's all we've got time for, I'm afraid. We'll have to see you next week.
Thank you.